All right, this video was released just a couple weeks ago on September 24th, but the incident happened about 6 or 7 months ago. This is the New Mexico State police officer, Justin Hare, who was stopping to render aid to a motorist who is trying to wave down passing motorists so that he could get help with his flat tire and supposedly a stolen BMW. And don't misconstrue what I say here, okay? The guy who does this heinous crime right here is a frickin' dirtbag. He needs to be brought to justice. He doesn't need to be out in society anymore. He's a danger to all the rest of us, including civilian and non-civilians alike. I don't want to get to a point where I lose my humanity and lose my compassion and lose my respect for life when I see this kind of thing happen to a law enforcement officer. But I'm not going to not ask questions. People seem to turn their minds off when something like this happens. And, they say things like, Officer Justin Hare, 35, leaves behind a pregnant wife and 2 small children. Rest easy, 966. You can tell this officer was a decent human being by the way he talked to him. But my questions always are, how many criminal acts, legalized criminal acts, did Officer Justin Hare engage in before this little episode right here that ended up costing his life? And what is it that drives people to do these heinous acts to police officers? Do police officers commit heinous acts against us under the color of law like 18 U.S.C. 242 says? Do they ever conspire against our rights like 18 U.S.C. 241 says? And isn't that just as bad as what this guy ends up doing to Justin Hare? We're going to watch this. We're going to watch what his police chief says. We're going to listen to all the accolades that he's given. And we're even going to see some of this footage right here where they go through this small town with this funeral procession, just making a whole bunch of noise, disturbing the peace to let you know one of their heroes has died. And I'm not here to say anything positive or negative about this situation or this particular police department or this particular police officer, but I am here to ask questions. We must always ask the tough questions other people seem to not want to ask. We want to engage our critical thinking, not disconnect and shelf our critical thinking when things like this happen. Is this cop a true hero? Because he's treated like one. People speak like he's one. Let's watch this interaction right here with Officer Justin Hare as he pulls over to help Jeremy Smith, who is a bad, bad dude.
Six taking care of B97. Hey, bud.
Got a flat tire. You can help me?
What are you needing?
Just a tire. I need a ride to the store. You get me there.
Okay, I can get you back to town real quick, but nobody's open tonight.
Well, that's fine. I'll get to town. I just haven't come back to get the car.
Okay, go ahead and go to the front of my car real quick. I'll meet you up there real quick. I'll get.
So, of course, that was the first, you know what. Now you can kind of hear Officer Hare gasping, and what follows is 2 more shots, and then he goes into the driver's side of the police car, shoves Officer Hare over into the passenger seat as he takes off with the patrol cruiser. I'm gonna put the volume down a little bit. Can you even imagine doing that to another human being and then just pushing them over to the passenger side and just driving down the road with these lights flashing, just joyriding in a patrol cruiser. It's really, really weird to me. So he just continues driving and driving, and then there's this manhunt for him, and they eventually catch him. There's like some kind of shootout where they get him, and they bring him to justice. But I want to show you what the police chief says about Justin Hare, Officer Justin Hare. Then we're going to ask a couple questions.
Thank everyone for their patience today as we have dealt with the loss of one of our officers and as we relentlessly work to pursue his killer. I spent the day with the family of Officer Justin Hare and his fellow officers. They are grieving, and I know the people of New Mexico are grieving as well. I want to extend my condolences to not only his family and friends, but also to his coworkers and the members of the tight-knit community he belongs to.
Smiling face, looks like a nice guy, sounded like a nice guy in the audio before this guy offed him. But again, the question remains, how many people were at the other end of Justin Hare's gun, Officer Justin Hare's gun, while they begged and pleaded for him not to take them to jail, not to ruin their lives, not to put them in torture cuffs, not to take them down for shameful fingerprinting, and not take them down for a body cavity search and thrown into a cage. How many people pleaded for their lives at the feet of Officer Justin Hare before this tragic event happened? Because a lot of people are really upset that Officer Justin Hare is no longer with us. How many victims did Officer Justin Hare leave in his wake during his tenure as a police officer?
I want to thank everyone for the outpouring of support the family and our agency has received. I first would like to say a few things about Officer Hare. He was a New Mexico native who grew up in Logan and Moriarty, New Mexico. He graduated from the 93rd State Police Recruit School in December of 2018 and was assigned to District 9 in Tucumcari. He is survived by his parents, girlfriend, and 2 young children.
So he was on the force for about 5 or 6 years before this happened.
Today, Officer Hare was doing the job that he and officers across the country do every single day, assisting the motoring public and keeping them safe.
That's all it is. That's all Officer Hare did. That's all these state troopers do, these state police. They're just out there to keep motorists safe. It's not for economic terrorism. It's not to harass you. It's not to harm you. It's not to steal from you. It's not to threaten you and jeopardize your life. It's just for your safety.
This morning around 5 a.m., Officer Hare was dispatched to assist a motorist on Interstate 40 near milepost 318. The individual had a flat tire and was attempting to wave down other motorists. When Officer Hare arrived, he parked behind the disabled vehicle. The suspect exited his vehicle and approached Officer Hare's passenger side window. A short conversation ensued about repairing his tire, and Officer Hare offered to give the suspect a ride to town. Then, without warning, the suspect pulled out a firearm and shot Officer Hare. The suspect then walked to the driver's side and shot Officer Hare again. He then pushed Officer Hare into the passenger seat and drove away in Officer Hare's patrol unit, which was abandoned a short time later. The last words that Officer Hare uttered on this earth was an offer to help the man who was about to kill him.
Should we not, though, stop at this point? I mean, that is sad. That context is sad. The guy who offered to help the assailant ends up being killed by the assailant that he offered to help. That is a sad situation. But when the roles were reversed and Officer Hare was the one who had the power, who had the authority, who had the discretion to make a decision whether to ruin somebody's life or not, what did Officer Hare do? What does his record look like? How many people are sitting in jail because of the actions and activities and outright tyranny of Officer Hare? Those are the questions that I ask. Because let's say this was a mafia member who was offed. Let's say one of Al Capone's henchmen or one of the Gambini family decide, you know what? I'm going to do something kind today where I live a lifestyle of viciousness and evil. Today, I'm going to do something kind. I'm going to help this motorist with a flat tire out. And he was on dash cam saying the same things that Officer Hare did. He offered his help. He extended an olive branch of peace. Sure, buddy, I'll take care of you. And then the member of the Gambino crime family ends up getting offed by this motorist. Do you think anybody who knows what the history of, let's say, Luigi Gambino was, do you think they're going to feel sorry for him? What about all of those apartment tenants or all those small business owners who had been threatened by this Gambino crime family member in the past years. What do you think they would say? Whew. At least Luigi's not with us to terrorize us anymore. Did you think that's what they say? But these law enforcement officials and the people that others call bootlickers want to get you to believe. They want you to go into one groove of thought, and that is, this guy's a hero. All he ever does was good. He just wanted to help. He's all about public safety for the motorists on the roadway. It's not about economic terrorism. It's not about abusing your authority. It's not about acting like a tyrant. This guy was just from top to bottom 100% hero. That's how they want you to look at this. This is tantamount to a psychological operation to get you to disconnect from thinking clearly, from asking questions, from being rational to being absolutely irrational. And all this guy ever does is good, so he must be good. He must deserve a hero's send-off. And that's BS. It's just utter BS. Is it sad that he's left with two kids that won't have a father? Yeah, that is absolutely sad. Just as sad as it would be for Luigi to leave 2 kids and a wife behind and a family who loves him. But let's just talk about Luigi himself. How bad was that dude? Did he get his just desserts for all the terrorism he foisted upon people who just wanted to be left alone? Can't we ask these questions? Are you heartless if you do bring it up?
I am disgusted and I am sickened by the actions of this cold-blooded murderer.
Well, I'm disgusted and sickened by the actions of the state police who approve of qualified immunity and the war on drugs, which is not a war on drugs, it's a war on people. I'm disgusted and sickened by the actions of Philip Brailsford, who offed Daniel Shaver, by Austin Hopp and Daria Jalali, who severely abused and harmed Karen Garner in Loveland, Colorado. I'm sickened by the Glendale Police Department, what they did to Johnny Wheatcroft. I'm sickened and disgusted by the cowards at the Arvada, Colorado Police Department and what they did to true hero Johnny Hurley. I'm sick and disgusted, aren't you?
We are bringing every resource to bear to bring Officer Hare's killer to justice, and we will not rest until that is done.
Perhaps these law enforcement agents don't know the meaning of justice. I want to show you the violation of noise abatement in this neighborhood, and it's incessant. This is the funeral procession of Justin Hare. I mean, it's bad enough to spend these kind of resources on this, but we're going to have sirens blaring. What funeral processions are supposed to be peaceful. They're supposed to be quiet. They're not supposed to be disturbing the living. And yet, here we see it happening. Why? I mean, it goes on and on for minutes and minutes. It's not bad enough that they misuse and misappropriate resources to do this, because, by the way, you are paying for this if you live in this area. How many law enforcement officials' time is being tied up? How many resources are being wasted? How much manpower is being misused here and mismanaged? The free market couldn't bear this kind of thing, but because they steal money from the American tax cattle, they can afford to do this. They can afford to misappropriate funds. Incessant for minutes. I'll leave the link if you want to watch this. And this is in a residential neighborhood. Look, these are nice homes right here in New Mexico. It's just constant. So, in our pursuit to bring monsters to justice, we need to safeguard our own hearts and keep ourselves from being the monsters that we desperately despise. But it's hard sometimes. It's hard to have that human to human compassion, because at the end of the day, this guy is not just wearing a clown suit. He's a human being, and he does have a family. So there's some compassion that extends. But at the end of the day, shouldn't it be just as much compassion as you would extend to Luigi Gambino, who has a history of abusing people in his neighborhood? Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you haven't subscribed already, I've got a brand new channel called The Disturbing Illusion, where we expose the left versus right paradigm lie under the Dog and Pony Show, WWE Big Top of Washington's District of Criminals. Remember, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Make sure you are eternally vigilant. I will see you in the next video.